Hot off Donald Trump's humiliating Alaska disaster, a real strongman has entered the conversation. Arnold Schwarzenegger just torched fake strongman Trump for cozying up to criminal strongman Vladimir Putin, and the hilarious nickname Arnold slapped on him is trending today, and I have the full story for you next. There is no shortage of reactions today to what happened and what did not happen yesterday in Alaska between Trump and Putin. Many are writing it off as a disaster for Trump because he failed to negotiate a ceasefire. Let's begin with Fox News because it's not often they stray from the propaganda script as we build towards Arnold's very unique assessment.
It was just very unusual, atypical, and I think we're all awaiting, the readout because the way that it felt in the room was not good. It did not seem like things went well, and it seemed like Putin came in and steamrolled, got right into what he wanted to say, and got his photo next to the president and then left. Of course, that is only the piece of the picture that we have right now, and certainly President Trump, who is the host and who is the president, would not want to, I think, enable something that would make him look weak. But we are eagerly awaiting to hear the background on that. And I will also note that we didn't see any sort of scowls on the faces of the likes of Steve Witkoff or Secretary Rubio or any of the other members of the U.S. delegation. And I think had it been concerning, we might have seen something there. But just to paint a picture for you of in the room, how it felt, what we're wondering about, what we need to know to put the pieces together and fully understand what we all just witnessed.
Did you hear that? Putin steamrolled Trump. Did that reporter forget who she was working for? If she flew to the summit on Air Force One with Trump and the other members of the press, she may have had to book a one-way ticket back on Alaska Airlines. Also, she said, "I didn't see any scowls." Let's see if that holds up.
What struck me, Jen, in particular, was really just the looks on the faces of a lot of the American delegation here. Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, Steve Witkoff, who came into the room, then left quickly, then came back in. Leavitt appeared to be a bit stressed out, anxious. Their eyes were wide, almost ashen at times. Those were some of the sort of images that will stick with me as we leave here. This was not the way the president likes to do things. He likes to be the producer of this presidency. He got that in the first half of the day, but when he was behind closed doors with Vladimir Putin, it looks like he didn't come away with anything that he claimed he wanted. He said he'd go home unhappy if there was no ceasefire. They didn't declare one here today.
Before I show you Arnold's reaction, I just have to point something out. Fox described the Team Trump reactions as no scowls and no real reactions. Meanwhile, MSNBC described those same faces as stressed out and anxious. Well, news nowadays is more like choose your own adventure than it is reporting, so the truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. And speaking of truth, here's Arnold with his truth bomb and zingers for Trump.
President Trump, I just saw your press conference with President Putin, and it was embarrassing. I mean, you stood there like a little wet noodle, like a little fanboy. I mean, I was asking myself, when are you going to ask him for an autograph or for a selfie or something like that? I mean, you literally sold out at this press conference our intelligence community, our justice system, and worst of all, our country. You're the president of the United States. You shouldn't do that. I mean, what's the matter with you? I mean, whatever happened to the strong words or to the strength of Ronald Reagan when he stood there at the Berlin Wall and he said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall"? What happened to all that?
At the end of the day, opinions about the summit by Fox or MSNBC do not matter. An opinion by Arnold Schwarzenegger really doesn't matter except for its entertainment value, and my opinion doesn't matter. So instead of giving it to you as I usually do, I'll give the time to the only opinion that matters, and that's Ukraine President Zelensky's. The man who is desperate for an end to the murderous invasion of his country gets the final word with his reaction via an X post. But keep in mind, this is a man who is stuck between a rock and a hard place and has to temper his responses as two criminals with most of the leverage continue to conspire on how to control and loot his country.
Today, following a conversation with President Trump, we further coordinated positions with European leaders. The positions are clear. A real peace must be achieved. One that will be lasting, not just another pause between Russian invasions. Killings must stop as soon as possible. The fire must cease both on the battlefield and in the sky, as well as against our port infrastructure. All Ukrainian prisoners of war and civilians must be released, and the children abducted by Russia must be returned. thousands of our people remain in captivity. They all must be brought home. Pressure on Russia must be maintained while the aggression and occupation continue. In my conversation with President Trump, I said that sanctions should be strengthened if there is no trilateral meeting, or if Russia tries to evade an honest end to the war. Sanctions are an effective tool. Security must be guaranteed reliably, and in the long term, with the involvement of both Europe and the US. All issues important to Ukraine must be discussed with Ukraine's participation, and no issue, particularly territorial ones, can be decided without Ukraine. I thank our partners who are helping. Today there is an important statement from European leaders that strengthens our position. We continue working together, Europeans, Americans, and everyone in the world who wants peace and stability in international relations.